Hey VC, it's Harvey of Spin the Black Circle. Hope everyone is well and doing good things. And welcome to Walk in the Groove, the series in which I walk, talk and muse on a musical theme. So today I'm in Walsall Arboretum, a green space that I have definitely visited more than any other in my entire life. And that is because for about 10 years, religiously on a Saturday morning, I would park run here. A 5k run that I think is global now, right? But yeah, good to be back in Walsall Arboretum. Again, the two things occurred to me as to why I'm enjoying this, why I'm going to continue this series. The first reminds me of a Van Morrison quote from the 90s, which is just remember, Van Morrison's already a curmudgeon by the 1990s, in which he said it's much harder to have a nice day now than it was in the 1960s. And I think what Van der Man was getting at there was just, even in the 90s already, the pace of life and information overload. It's just so much, it's harder to have a nice day. Second thing is something I heard recently from Joe Wicks, who many in the UK VC will know is a celebrity fitness guru. And his quote is that you never regret a walk. And I agree with that. So on to today's topic then, which is, does the best music come from adversity? So, Exhibit A is Funhouse, the ironically entitled second album by the Stooges from 1970. So, having been afforded a sizable recorded budget by Elektra Records, which included being housed in a flat together with the fair premise that they would record, or at least write, some music in which to enter the studio with. They were found 3 months later by the record company along with producer Don Gallucci, covered in lice, having all developed classy heroin addictions and having written precisely nothing. So all the more remarkable then that having been found in that state over two bursts of energy, they recorded one of the prototype punk albums, actually, tracks like Down in the Street, TVI, the title track. Amazing. So where did that come from? I guess necessity, partly desperation, but there's some talent underlying, raw talent underlying all of that too. So yeah, Exhibit A is the second LP, Funhouse by the Stooges. I'm going to jump forward now some 18 years to the recording of Appetite for Destruction, the debut, and let's be honest, key LP release by Guns N' Roses. A band with dysfunctional, poverty-stricken, eating out of bins, equipment was stolen from the studio, and in the worst sort of debauched LA lifestyle imaginable, with hangers-on and grifters in and out of the studio. Nevertheless, with a wealth of material honed via years and years of live gigs, it's one of the quintessential debut rock LPs, from Welcome to the Jungle to Rocker Queen to that iconic ballad Sweet Child of Mine. It's a simply amazing LP. So what draws those two records together then? Stooges didn't have material ready, recorded an amazing debut. Guns N' Roses, a wealth of great material, but clearly dysfunctional. And I think it's about raw ability and necessity and urgency, and actually not having the time to pause and just get on with it. So very similar stories in those two LPs, built out of adversity. If they'd had, as Axl Rose did, 14 years to ponder in it, as he did via the dreadful Chinese democracy, and it all falls apart. So necessity, urgency, raw ability definitely links those two albums, and they're not dissimilar in sound either. So yeah, Appetite for Destruction, Exhibit B. So debauchery isn't the only form of muse that spikes creativity. Take the debut Aretha Franklin Atlantic Records LP with Jerry Wexler and Arif Mardin. On paper, very easy, right? Take who was to become the Queen of Soul, an astonishing vocalist with some of the best session musicians in the world, put them in the Muscle Shoals studio, and Bob's your uncle. but it was the most chaotic recording sessions imaginable, with Aretha Franklin's husband turning up, abusing staff. The sessions being aborted on several occasions. Aretha being unable to get used to the setup of being at piano and recording, and with the odd nature of the arrangements being difficult even for the Muscle Shoals musicians to get to grips with. So to the extent that the sessions were aborted several times, and by no means was it certain that that classic WLP, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, would materialise the way it did. So again, what is it about that chaos and adversity that just spikes that creativity? Interesting one. So album 4 of 5 is Loveless by My Bloody Valentine from 1991. And the adversity here is the outright perfectionism and pedantic nature of main man Kevin Shields of My Bloody Valentine. This was the second album, and it cost something like 140 to 160,000 pounds to record, with the record company all but giving up on them. If you've heard it, you'll understand why. There's these kind of layers and layers of overdriven guitars, but with these perfect pop songs underpinning this wall of sound. It's truly an incredible sound. The closest I've heard to it is Psycho Candy by Jesus and the Mary Chain, but this is times 10, and the years, months and years it took to record were well worth it, but came at a cost. By the end of the recording, 2 of the band members were struggling with tinnitus. But yeah, different sort of adversity, and we're so lucky that it eventually came out, because there was a time when everybody, including Kevin Shields, were giving up on this one. So yeah, 4 of 5, Loveless by My Bloody Valentine. So last and certainly not least, to a chorus of ducks, is the great 1950s quintet Miles Davis albums, Relaxing, Cooking, Steaming and Working, recorded over 2 days. And the adversity was, this was a contract filler. So Miles wasn't known as the genius and entrepreneur tastemaker that we all know now. He was a struggling musician at the time, was spotted at the Newport Jazz Festival by Columbia Records, but unfortunately, or fortunately for us, was under contract still with Prestige to record 4 albums. So entering the studio is no more than a contract filler. What we got was some of, in any genre, the greatest recorded music of the 20th century. So recorded quickly in 2 days, testament really to the overwhelming talent of this 50s quintet. It's just incredible. So similarities there to, I guess, in a completely different genre. What happened out of necessity per the Stooges. So what have we learned? So then, why does so much great music stem or build from adverse circumstances? It's difficult to find a common denominator, really, VC. The Stooges and certainly Miles Davis, it's built out of urgency and necessity. But then Guns N' Roses, they had a bank of material recorded and honed for all of those gigs. And then My Bloody Valentine is the opposite end of the spectrum, right? It is music where they had more than enough time on their hands, and it was perfectionism that was the issue. And then Aretha, the chaotic circumstances of that are somewhere in the middle. So the only common denominator really is talent. And when that talent is under pressure, be that time, necessity or perfectionism, that's when it seems to rise to the top. So a lot of great music was recorded in good circumstances too, but talent for me is the thing that draws everything together we've just discussed. So I hope that was interesting. Enjoyed the walk. It was a long one, a lot of thoughts going, and a lot of music built out of adversity that I left off the table. So what do you think? Like, comment, tell me some stories. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the majority of music is built out of favourable circumstances. It just doesn't seem that way. Or maybe we're just drawn to the drama of these albums that were quite tricky to record with difficult gestation periods. So there you go. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and peace.